Well, good evening. It's Thursday the 28th of September and this is the latest instalment from our Dahlia trials in our Dahlia fields, which I'll probably do in two halves I think tonight. Don't know how many more we'll get done. Beautiful day here today in Northumberland. Interrupted by the British Masters golf to a degree because the traffic getting here was horrendous this morning, so got the same for the next couple of days. But anyway, here goes. Sun shining, lovely September evening. We've got Aggie White on full flowering now. Obviously didn't get them out for Harrogate, but pleased to see that they're looking really nice and uniform with some good size. These are all grown about 3 up and I've got about 14 plants put out here, and all looking very, very nice. Not a mark really on them, despite being just at the edge of the covered area that we've got. Then a one that's been a bit of a battle for us, which is Bebzada Hill, the sport of John Hill. Like the parent, it's very, very compact in habit. Bit of variation in the colour of the plants, and it's very late flowering as well. Sorry, the sun's quite bright on these now. Now we go to Steve Megos, which superb strength in the plants, but one or two of the flowers I wasn't very happy with. You got this sort of streaky appearance in them, so we've managed to select out 2 good clean plants that had some much better blooms on than this. Caterpillar's having a bit of a feast on there, so we've got 2 plants to build up from again like next year. Derek Cave's Coarse and Gold, large semi-cactus, which remember sort of earlier in the season it seemed to be struggling to get away a bit short of something in the soil, but certainly there's no problem with the flowers that we've got on there now. These is a good sort of 8 inches across with some still development to go. Got a reasonable amount of depth at the back there. Bear in mind it's late season, it would have been better a couple of weeks ago, I'm sure, had they been coming out then. Just in the background there's the 2 white candy spots that we've got. The one on just to the left of the post there is the one that's I think is in the trials, and straight ahead is the one from the borders from comes down from Selkirk. We'll have a look at that as we come back along. So yeah, Coarse and Gold. Now we got Purple Hillcrest Duncan Edwards, from like Les Jackson, which a lot of these were done as sort of like as run-ons because the buds were coming too early. Beautiful colour, lovely colour, and getting some good height on the plants now. They were a bit sort of squat, as I say earlier on, but they're running on, knocking backs, giving them a good, much better footstalk than what I was expecting. Tom East, this one's been a bit of a talking point over the last couple of weeks as people have been in to see it. Certainly a vigorous plant. These are only grown about sort of 4 up. Standing, the tallest bloom there is about 6 foot high, reaching the top of my covers there. And actually, probably 1 or 2 sort of fairly decent blooms on there, I think. Giant semi-cactus easily. Yes, a little bit of marking at the back as you'd expect from this stage, but very, very nice. So we'll have to give that another go next year, so I'll be needing to speak to Ian and Graham Hill. And then we have got Mary Margaret, which was shown at Harrogate by Roger Day in the seedling class. Quite a vigorous plant, growing around about 6 up on that. We don't really count anything back, I just stop them at sort of whether I think 3 pairs or 4 pairs, whether it's like a giant, large or medium, and just see how it goes. And some quite nice blooms on there, plenty centre in that, and those blooms will be a good 6 inches across at the minute. Wished I'd brought my rings down to have a look. Nice and clean and crisp, and yes, young but no signs of damping. Slightly bigger bloom down lower on the plant there, with again still plenty to come on there petal wise. So we'll definitely, just been speaking to Roger, and we'll be definitely growing this one again next year in probably a bigger number, just to see, give it a better try, with the potential that we may make that available for him in 2019. Then we're looking at Rycroft Gladiator from Phil Godsmark, which again is super strong plants. You know, I wonder whether this should be tried as potentially like as a large deck. Slightly front facing blooms, but pretty clean. Well, it's pretty clean, it was, but it's not now, unfortunately. But a good sized bloom, strong plants growing about 5 to 6 foot high. Some later blooms coming on there, which is sort of approaching the top of my covers. These covers have certainly helped us do some assessment on these bigger varieties. I just wish I had more time to give to them, and dare I say, knew what I was doing a bit better and had a bit more time to concentrate on them. Then we got Rycroft Huntsman, from Phil. Again standing between sort of 5 and 6 foot high, with flowers that are probably over the 6 inch, 7 inch mark, growing about sort of 5, 6 up on the plant. Sort of good depth to the plants, to the flowers rather. Good stems, strong enough. And then bear in mind these are late blooms, a little bit of damping down the back there, but you'd expect that at this time of year. Then Corson George from Derrick Cave. Really good colour on this. Best blooms I think have been cut now, and it has been flowering a little bit late for us, to be honest, but that's the way I've just grown it and timed it wrong. Cream Moonlight, thanks to Graham McFarlane for the stock of this one. We've obviously done the Eastwood and the White Moonlight, and used to have Lauren's Moonlight a while back, but now we've added Cream Moonlight to the catalogue. Then we got our sport of Cream Westerton Lillian, which we were hoping would secure it because it was a complete plant. I'm not so sure whether it is actually a distinct colour break. Just starting to flower now. Standing 6 foot with us. Well, this is Westerton Lillian, and that's the cream. And as I say, I don't think there's much difference there, not as much as what we saw last year. In fact, that's the two together and there's none at all. So yeah, thought we're going to be on a lucky streak there with a good sport, but it's not happened. Then we have where I'm at with the Fims, still waiting for Kenora Frills, late variety, far too many shoots up. Normandy Wedding Day, that's taken on a more pure white colour now rather than the pink blush that it would have earlier on. And Terry Bandy, heading into the sun now with our Kenora Macop B, which is a stunning colour. This has been popular as a cut flower today for some harvest arrangements, and you can understand why with the intensity of that. Then Le Feu de Soleil, and then I think this is my favourite at the moment of these, Normandy Frills. If Harrogate was this week, I could have cut 3. And this is one from Tony Kingdom. This is variety Sherwell Allen, which we only managed to get sort of plants quite late on to plant out from the tuberary scent. So we've only got like 1 bloom, so we're not going to be able to give that a really good assessment this year. It's about 8 inches across at the minute. I saw it at Wisley, I think it was last year, and liked it. Should be a giant deck. We'll have to give that another go and see how it does. And here we go with the white candy sport that came down from the borders. This is very nice. We've taken a couple of plants out because of some problems with it. A little bit of reversion, the odd pink petal, so I've just kept the ones that have got no signs of it. So we'll have to see what it does when we grow this in bigger numbers next year. But that's a nice bloom. Yes, a little bit of marking on the back of it now, or as we say, it is September. And then the other one we had, which is I think the one that's in the trials at the moment, it's just not quite as neat. The plants just look that little bit weaker when you see the other one in the background there. And then Cream Diane with Wynnum Diane planted alongside it, just to see how they do and how much difference there is. These really haven't had the attention that top exhibitors will be giving them. They've just been planted and left to grow. And then we have Roger Turrell, which I know is not a new introduction, but we were trying to see how well that would do. Been some very nice blooms on here. And then obviously my wife's favourite, named after our great niece, Westertonella Grace. And I'm just scanning around there because I just love the way the petals line up in this lovely spiral fashion, whichever way you look at it. So neat, so tidy. Right, it could be quite hard to film out here because it's such a bright evening, the sun's really shining. But as you can see, we've still got lots of colour about right across the fields. Everything's still flushing up very nicely, and just spinning back round a bit to where the giants and the large decking cactus are. Again, 1 or 2 varieties still flushing up. It just shows how late 1 or 2 of these can be. With Zorro there, Sherwell Greta, Go American, and then El Marie just in front of the covered area, and Bonaventure. You can always work out where that is on the plot because it stands about 1 foot above everything else, or 2 foot. And then you've got the Sir Ralph Ramsey down there as well. But back to our trial ones. We had this a few years ago, Clearview Tammy. Wasn't particularly happy with the stock because it grew only about 18 inches, 2 foot. And then we got sent a tuber by Eric Booth. Thank you, Eric. Try again. A lot happier with the plants on these. Medium semi-cactus. Quite good depth, stays relatively clean. I know there's marking there, but we are where we are. But still quite a heavy centre on that. And then we have Derek Cave's Corson George. A few Cream Moonlight planted outside, and some Normandy Frills planted outside. Then we have Eric Spenethorn Georgia May, which there's been a couple of really nice blooms on this, and we'll have to talk to Eric and plant that one again next year. Then we had some White Hillcrest Candy, which was the one that's on the trials, I think. And then we have Barbary Drum. Haha! And what we got amongst Barbary Drum? This wasn't here the other day. Now that could be interesting, but if it's anything like trying to secure some other white spots off red ones, it's probably going to prove to be difficult. But there are a number of white petals, one white petal in there and that one. Then we go on to Barbary Delegate. Really good strong stems, just coming into sort of like full flush. I keep mentioning on some of the videos, really messed up with our trial ones this year in that some got planted like not so much too late, but the plants that we put out were a bit too hard because we missed a batch, so we're having to go backwards a batch or two and use plants that I was really intended to keep for pot tubers. That meant it took a bit of a time to come away and really get going strongly, and then very dry, which didn't help. But certainly we got some height and vigor on that right now. Barbary Drum, like the colour of this. I like the fact that it's stayed totally unmarked despite a few very foggy mornings, particularly yesterday. It's got some good size there. Again, like I would have liked to have seen a flush a little bit earlier, but it's my own fault. Barbary Primrose Hall, which is now achieving a really good flush. The plant's standing about 4 foot high right across the bed, and I think this one will be around for a while. You know, for being outside, that's quite a clean bloom for end of September. And then we got outdoors of Westerton Ella Grace. You know, people have commented about how difficult it will be to colour match it. I've cut a vase at home for Sue, and you cannot tell the difference between them. As Andrew Robinson, I think, commented, depending on where you look at it, direction, you're either seeing a bit predominant like white or predominantly pink, depending on how you turn it. You know, from the front it's more pink, from the side it's more white. But colour matching, I don't think there's any issues with it. And clean as a whistle. Not a marked petal on any one of these flowers. Even when it's got to that stage where it's full out, I can look at the back. Oh, sorry, there's one petal on there that needs pulling, but it's too late to pull it anyway because the centre's gone. And we've got Spenny Thorn Pamela from Eric Booth. So trying to get the colour with this very bright September sunlight. The sun's getting low in the sky. Very involuted petals on these, coming to a bit of a point. But these are starting to mark, but then that's late. Then we've got Rycroft Misty. I really do like this, from Phil Godsmark. We will be including this in our main catalogue, but swinging round just to get the back of that bloom, and it says focus is in there. That's pretty clean for a white at this stage of the season, and a nice flush in the centre and good even centres looking at it directly from the top. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. Just shame it was so late flowering for us. Okay, there's a bit marking on that bloom there, but again the flush and the centres are very nice. I get a bit more light in, will it sort of come through. This was little one, orange one was from Tom Cleghorn, Marmalade, which is a bit too compact. You know, could possibly be a good garden variety. And then Hillcrest Jonathan from Les Jackson. Really nice, interesting bicolour. Makes a good cut flower. It does actually last quite well. It's the second time we've tried this. I've got to be honest, this time around it looks an awful lot better and I'm a lot more interested in it. And then again from Tom Cleghorn we've got Eye Candy, lovely soft baby pink. And if I stand in the shadow a little bit, the form stands up a little bit more. But good cut flower, but not really got the form to be a top-notch exhibition type variety. Then we grew some cream Diane outside. And then this is Blighton Stella. Saw this at the trials at Golden Acre last year. That's a truer colour now that I've stepped and got the sun out of the way. That's more like it. Stand in the weather pretty well. Quite compact plants here with us, but again that's the problems I've already mentioned a couple of times. Then we have Barbary Rover. Woodfield George, which I think is just too short a petal by the look of it. And this is Bill Franklin's Goldcrest Sport, which is now Lismore Goldcrest. Best blooms have gone off here and the Goldcrests are a bit slow to repeat. Clearview Audrey, again thanks to Eric Booth for sending me a tuber of this. I do like the colour of this one. It's classed as a small, but it's a big small, so we'd have to have plenty of blooms up. The colour's very attractive. I think that's what's got me in the plant habit, nice and strong, and it does stay pretty clean at the back. I'm gonna skip the Jasudis for now and I'll do them like separately. Well, you can see them all there in front of us. And then we'll go down some of these. Max Lorry Jean from America, definitely not a small semi-cactus. Somebody says it might not be Max Lorry Jean because they had it and flowered it differently. I've got to be honest, I don't know any better. I tried finding it and it looked, photograph I found looked fairly similar. Then we have Barbary Gala. Just love the colour of this. Very nice, bright, vivid yellow. Almost like an acid yellow. Barbary Patriot. Miniature ball. And these are standing the weather pretty well. Staying pretty clean on the backs of the blooms. And last week there was a bit of talk about Rossendale Hero, which there was a few blooms out. The biggest blooms have gone. We're now onto a sort of secondary flush of slightly smaller blooms. We had fog for a lot of the day yesterday and heavy rain all last night, right the way through. So to say that looking as clean as what it is at the moment, I'm quite pleased with that. So got to make a decision. I'm sure that'll be making its way into our main list and should be going onto our website fairly soon. And then Rycroft Bella, which is from Phil Godsmark, getting interrupted by a helicopter flying over there. But they're getting a really good view of the fields. Then we have another one from Phil Godsmark Rycroft Marksman, pure white miniature ball. And I must admit the blooms are looking better now than what I first saw them a couple of weeks ago. Maybe that's because there's more on the plants. I know it's really late to be assessing them this late in September, but it's just the way they've all flowered. This is Gordon Hodgson's Westerton Reserve, which we tried last year. And as we had some space left, I wasn't going to put it in again this year, but I thought now we'd give it another planting out. Had space for about 16 plants, and here we go. And I think Gordon probably agrees it's not quite there, as we talked about it like last year. And that's a review of all the trial varieties but the Jasudi ones. Well, I thought I'd quickly go through on part 2 and just go through the Jasudis in a little bit of detail, because it could do with some feedback maybe off one or two of yous about them. Okay, so thanks for listening to that and hope you enjoyed.